Sometimes diversity is good for the team. They perform better.
Right.
Sometimes it makes no difference.
Right.
Sometimes it's actually worse. Right. That's what the research shows. So diversity actually creates more problems where there's no common purpose.
Right.
So you need that common purpose. This is what we're here to achieve, all of us, irrespective of who we are and where we're from,
Right.
etc., etc. We're all here to achieve this. The other thing I think that which again is about this overarching kind of message is for leaders to say that diversity is really important in this organisation. I believe, it's not a policy thing, I believe that diversity is actually a great thing for this organisation. We need to harness it better. So it's framing it in a very positive way. What that means then in the organisation is that people feel that this is an organisation that I want to be a part of. I can make a contribution irrespective
Where I come from.
of where I come from, and actually because the leader and the leadership in the organisation have framed it in this way that it's really important.
What is really important when you bring in someone new to more of a homogenous group? How are you going to make them successful?
Is that go in, learn, find out what your role is, what your position is, what you're expected to achieve. How is success going to be measured for the job that you're going to be doing? And then start building relationships with other people in the organisation and get a result early.
Is there a tension between fitting in and maintaining your own individuality and the diversity you bring in?
Yeah.
Remember, there are two large organisations we used to work for, and one of them said, don't worry, to new hires, don't worry. It typically takes about 3 months before people sort of learn the ropes here. And the other said, actually, when someone new comes in, we arrange lunch sessions and we really try and pick your brains and find out what you know that we don't know.
I think as a new person, you actually, in order for you to be treated, in order for anybody to be treated as an individual, you can't expect it. It's something you have to earn. And you earn it by demonstrating to people that I can deliver on things for you. And there was a psychologist in the 1950s. He developed this idea called idiosyncrasy credit. So once you're accepted by a team and you deliver things for them, the more idiosyncratic you can be. Now, if you hadn't delivered and you're just a spiky character and unpleasant to be around. So I'm not sure what he brings to this organisation actually, apart from trouble.
But I guess the other side is also what the organisation can do to sort of prepare for someone that's coming in. They're new. They may even be different than us. How do we make sure we see them and welcome them and we perhaps change a bit in order to. So it's not only the person coming in changing, but the organisation changing a bit as well.
Yeah. No, you have to, and kind of that degree of openness, it needs to exist with that majority as well. Otherwise, you just smother any type of individuality. But it requires them to be open in terms of that bridging capital.
Should we explicitly add to that list of diverse features to include these spiky characteristics, which are not linked to colour or gender or anything, but actually you could argue drive more diversity of action and thought, and
you can have a team on sitting around a table and they look very diverse on the surface, look very diverse, but actually in terms of the way they operate, they're very uniform. So we all agree with the leader. So the leader says, and we all nod. Interestingly, of the organisations of the banks that experienced difficulties, the recession, Lehman Brothers, the one that precipitated the recession, actually were the most diverse. They were the most diverse. But everybody who was being appointed, male, female, black or white, was basically agreeing with the leader. So it's actually your point. You had diversity in terms of the characteristics, the visible characteristics, but in terms of diversity of thought, they all thought the same. They all did what the leaders told them. It's a lack of inclusion. Not just on gender ethnicity, but the ability to people to be themselves and to speak up and to say, actually, what's going on in this organisation is wrong. So I think there are real dangers, I think, by not creating an inclusive culture over and above the issues of diversity, colour, gender, etc., etc. But the point about leaders themselves, actually, the type of leaders that we appoint, can they handle diversity? But can they also learn and take feedback themselves, or are they that autocratic that they just expect their view to hold sway and dominate? Well, you know yourselves better than me, probably. Actually, some people are more self-aware in leadership roles than more self-aware in others, in which case there's a responsibility on other people to give. Let's say I'm the leader. There's responsibility on them to give me feedback. to say, well, actually, you do realise that when it comes to these discussions, you're not paying much attention to the ideas that are coming from women in the team. Now, that sort of challenge, it may be difficult depending on the personality of the person involved. And I may bluster, and I may be offended that somebody's kind of given me this feedback, but the research seems to show that that type of challenge, you know, even very politely done, it can be enough for enough people to start questioning their own behaviour. And so I need to reflect on my own behaviour, which is one thing, and being more self-aware and reflective and kind of reviewing the way I've done things, but also listening to feedback. But it also means that you've got to have the courage to give me the feedback.